Jared Kushner was questioned this month by special counsel Robert Mueller's team of investigators about the former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. A person familiar with the investigation confirmed Wednesday to the Associated Press. The person said the questioning of Donald Trump's son-in-law took about 90 minutes or less and was aimed in part at establishing whether Kushner had any information on Flynn that might be exculpatory. The person added that multiple White House witnesses had been asked about their knowledge of Flynn, who was forced to resign from the White House in February after officials concluded he had misled them about his contacts with the Russian ambassador. The confirmation of Kushner's interview came as prosecutors working for Mueller postponed grand jury testimony related to Flynn's private business dealings. The reason for the postponement, first reported by CNN, was not immediately clear, but it comes 1 week after attorneys for Flynn alerted Trump's legal team that they could no longer share information about the case. That discussion between lawyers was widely seen as a possible indication that Flynn was moving to cooperate with Mueller's investigation or attempting to negotiate a deal for himself. An attorney for Flynn, Robert Mueller, did not immediately respond to email and phone messages Wednesday afternoon. Peter Carr, a spokesman for Mueller, declined comment. Quick guide: the story of Donald Trump and Russia comes down to this: a sitting president or his campaign is suspected of having coordinated with a foreign country to manipulate a U.S. election. The story could not be bigger, and the stakes for Trump and the country could not be higher. Investigators are asking two basic questions. Did Trump's presidential campaign collude at any level with Russian operatives to sway the 2016 U.S. presidential election? And did Trump or others break the law to throw investigators off the trail? While a majority of the American public now believes that Russia tried to disrupt the U.S. election, opinions about Trump campaign involvement tend to split along partisan lines. 73% of Republicans, but only 13% of Democrats, believe Trump did nothing wrong in his dealings with Russia and its president, Vladimir Putin. The affair has the potential to eject Trump from office. Experienced legal observers believe that prosecutors are investigating whether Trump committed an obstruction of justice. Both Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton, the only presidents to face impeachment proceedings in the last century, were accused of obstruction of justice. But Trump's fate is probably up to the voters. Even if strong evidence of wrongdoing by him or his cohort emerged, a Republican congressional majority would probably block any action to remove him from office. Such an action would be a historical rarity. Former Foreign Policy Advisor George Papadopoulos pleaded guilty to perjury over his contacts with Russians linked to the Kremlin, and the president's former campaign manager Paul Manafort and another 8 faced charges of money laundering. The investigations have an open timeline. Thank you for your feedback. In a statement, Kushner's attorney, Abby Lowell, said, Mr. Kushner has voluntarily cooperated with all relevant inquiries and will continue to do so. The details of Kushner's questioning and the postponement of the grand jury testimony were confirmed by people familiar with Mueller's investigation. They spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss the continuing investigation. The grand testimony that had been scheduled for the coming days related to Flynn's firm, Flynn Intel Group, its work with a public relations firm and interactions with congressional staff, one of the people said. Mueller and the FBI have been interested in hearing from employees at the public relations firm, SGR, because of the firm's work with Flynn Intel Group. SGR, which does business as Sphere Consulting, contributed to a film that Flynn Intel Group was working on about the Turkish cleric Fethullah Gulen. The film was never completed. Mueller was appointed by the Justice Department in May to oversee an investigation into possible coordination between Russia and the Trump campaign to influence the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. The investigation, which produced its first criminal charges last month against 3 former Trump campaign officials, incorporated an earlier FBI inquiry into Flynn's lobbying and investigative research work on behalf of a Turkish businessman. Flynn's firm was paid $530,000 for the work. Sphere employees have cooperated for months with Mueller's investigation, including by turning over documents requested by investigators and sitting for voluntary interviews.